Hello, my name is Helen Mia Harris and I work as a relationship therapist and a marriage coach here in the UK. I also specialise in love addiction, rejection, abandonment, codependency and anxious attachment and many other things. What I want to discuss today, as I've been researching this, I want to think about anxious attachment and vulnerability in women. Now, when I speak like this, I want you to know that I'm not just aiming this at women. I am going to be speaking about women, but also men can suffer from this very same thing. That what actually happens, and I believe that this is a key thing when women when I speak about loving too much or love addiction, when women that feel a sense of anxious attachment in relation because they're with a love avoidant. I spoke about this, I will be speaking about this in another video just before this one I was. What I'm really getting at here is that when we fall in love and have those euphoric, ecstatic feelings and attraction to somebody that might be either a love avoidant in love addiction terms or be an avoidant attachment style, what actually happens is that if you are if you have an anxious attachment style and you're either in a relationship with this person, or it might be somebody that you've met recently, or it might be a long-term or short-term relationship, what often happens when two people become intimate with one another, the person that is the anxious attachment style feels everything so intensely. They feel it as an ecstatic sense of euphoric connection. They long for a deep emotional response, and that's a word I want to come back to, because everything for the person that goes through anxious attachment longs for an immediate reciprocated emotional response. In so much that if they are going out with one another or within a relationship, they are looking for certainty. They can't bear uncertainty. They're looking for availability. They're looking for a complete connection with the other. But if the person that you are recently going out with or in a long-term relationship with, if they are a love avoidant or they have an avoidant attachment style and you become intimate, what actually begins to happen, because I was speaking in one of my other videos about losing yourself in a relationship or losing yourself in love, is that what begins to happen is that both of you become intimate, and the person with the anxious attachment style, and particularly if you are a woman watching this, begins to feel acute vulnerability, which naturally happens to women when they are intimate in a connected, loving, emotionally responsive relationship. Within this vulnerability, there's a sense of weakness, helplessness, even a sense of sacrifice, because when we're intimate, there's a temporary delay of everything. So it's a sense of a no-sensical world, a sense of reaching a heightened state of connectedness and intimacy and passion and desire that you're rendered immediately vulnerable. Now, why am I saying this? There's something about the differences between men and women intimately, that when a woman is experiencing this acute vulnerability and even afterwards, the man might often preoccupy himself with something else, especially if they are a love avoidant or an avoidant attachment style. What I want to say that this doesn't necessarily mean that that person is no longer connected to you. This doesn't necessarily mean that that person, although it might be, but I just want to give you two sides of this. It may mean that men react differently. One of these things is that with women, it's often the oxytocin in them that makes them feel that they're passionately connected and in love with this person, even though it might not be in love. It might be a desperate love or loving too much, but it feels like an ecstatic, euphoric form of love. For men, it's something quite different. So what I think we've all got to keep in mind is that person rejecting you either all the time or, when you're intimate with one another, or there is something in all my videos that I try and reach you with so that you can really get a sense that you gain as much knowledge as possible. And I really believe that when that anxious attachment style and all the vulnerability that goes with it is coupled with somebody that you are truly connected to, and somebody that can be there in that emotional response with you before and after being close to one another, that will give you the security that you need. But most of all, more than anything, is that on some level it's gaining as much knowledge about the differences between men and women. And I think when we know this, we cease to be so anxious and we feel more secure within ourselves. So it's almost like a personal individuation process where we feel that we're emotionally self-reliant, emotionally able to take care of ourselves and self-sufficient. And when the opposite sex or the same sex or whatever sees that, there's a gradual kind of building on that love equilibrium, so that neither feel that clinginess or longing for the other, so that love isn't reciprocated. So that love is reciprocated, so that you're no longer rejected in love, that both of you are there. And so that your attachment styles somehow work with finding that balance, that secure balance, so that the love equilibrium is completely balanced. It might be a little bit like that sometimes, but that's bearable. So once again, I'll just recap on what I've said. I've been talking about anxious attachment style people being very drawn to avoidant attachment style people, and how you can make that equilibrium balanced. But also when you're close and there's a strong emotional bond that's equal, you will no longer be face to face with the debilitating sense of rejection and abandonment anxiety. All right, I hope you've gained something from this. Remember, knowledge is power, and I don't mean power in its negative sense. To gain as much knowledge as possible. So feel free to look around my website and go into my free resources. There's many ebooks that I've written there with lots of tips and different things to help and support you. And also I do have a life-changing 15-step love addiction and codependency recovery program that you can find on the homepage link from my website. So take good care, and I look forward to speaking to you in any other videos that are coming up very soon. All right? Okay, bye-bye for now.